What's up, guys? Hope you're having a good day. Today I'm going to react to somebody who's brand new. His name is Japheth. Looks like he just started, or I don't know, started this channel at least, called China Rewrote Jesus into Buddhism and then buried it for 1,000 years. Now this guy's from Hong Kong, and it looks like he's making his way into being a professional kickboxer. So shout out to him. He's a badass for real, and he's comes with facts, and he loves the Lord, so he's a triple threat. So shout out to him. But let's see what he's got to say. Let's check this out. I thought it was interesting. I watched it, but I didn't really get a chance to let it marinate. So here we are. Let's go.
In 635 AD, Chinese monks sat down and rewrote the story of Jesus. Not translated, rewrote. God created yin and yang. The crucifixion was a solution to samsara. Jesus was called the jade-faced one, and the Trinity was mapped to the three bodies of Buddha. This was Christianity built from the inside out, in Chinese, by Chinese people, and it spread across the Tang dynasty for 200 years. Then it was destroyed, sealed underground for 900 years, and when it was finally discovered, a French scholar bought 10,000 of those manuscripts and took them to Paris. I'll tell you what he paid, but the number will make you angry. China's own version of Jesus is in a museum in London right now. Modern-day Xi'an is the largest city on earth. A Persian bishop named Alepen walks in. He didn't sneak across the border. He came with 24 monks and 530 religious manuscripts and walked the entire Silk Road from Persia to get there. When he arrived, Emperor Taizong didn't arrest him. He had him brought directly to the imperial palace. He took Alepen's scriptures to the imperial library, had them translated, and then read them himself. 3 years later, Taizong issued a decree. Christianity was now a tolerated religion across all of China, and he built China's first Christian church with imperial money. In 635 AD, Chinese monks sat down and rewrote the story of Jesus. Not translated, rewrote. God created yin and yang. The crucifixion was a solution to samsara. Jesus was called the jade-faced one, and the Trinity was mapped to the three bodies of Buddha. This was Christianity built from the inside out, in Chinese, by Chinese people, and it spread across the Tang dynasty for 200 years. Then it was destroyed, sealed underground for 900 years, and when it was finally discovered, a French scholar bought 10,000 of those manuscripts and took them to Paris. I'll tell you what he paid, but the number will make you angry. China's own version of Jesus is in a museum in London right now. Most people have never even heard of it. 635 AD, the Tang dynasty is at its peak. Chang'an, modern-day Xi'an, is the largest city on earth. A Persian bishop named Alepen walks in. He didn't sneak across the border. He came with 24 monks and 530 religious manuscripts and walked the entire Silk Road from Persia to get there. When he arrived, Emperor Taizong didn't arrest him. He had him brought directly to the imperial palace. He took Alepen's scriptures to the imperial library, had them translated, and then read them himself. 3 years later, Taizong issued a decree. Christianity was now a tolerated religion across all of China, and
Am I high, or did we just watch this? I don't know.
he built China's first Christian church with imperial money. The most powerful man in the world at that time, who already had Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism, read the story of Jesus and said, this should be Chinese. But there was a problem, because when Alepen's monks sat down to actually translate Christianity for Chinese people, they realized how hard it was going to be. How do you explain original sin to someone who's never heard of Adam and Eve? How do you explain salvation to someone whose entire worldview is built around the Tao Te Ching? And how do you describe the God of Abraham to people who've grown up thinking about existence in terms of samsara and rebirth? The answer they came up with changed everything. They called the method Gei Yi. It means matching concepts. Take the ideas Buddhism and Taoism had already given the Chinese people and use them as a bridge, and they went all the way with it. In the Jesus Sutras, God didn't create the world in 6 days. God created yin and yang. Yin and yang gave birth to qi, the life force of all living things. That's straight out of the Tao Te Ching. They rewrote Genesis using it. Jesus wasn't there to save you from original sin. In these texts, the problem isn't sin. The problem is samsara, the Buddhist endless cycle of death and rebirth. You keep coming back, you keep suffering, and you can never get free. So in the Jesus Sutras, Jesus is the solution to samsara. When they described Jesus taking on human form, they said he put on the 5 skandhas. The 5 skandhas are a Buddhist concept. The 5 elements that make up human existence: form, sensation, perception, mental activity, and consciousness. Jesus took all 5 on, lived fully inside them, and died inside them to break the cycle for everyone else. And then there's this. One of the surviving passages describes the Holy Spirit as the cool wind. In Taoism, wind is the breath of the universe, the force that moves through everything and gives it life. They describe the third person of the Trinity using something every Chinese person already understood. Jesus they called the jade-faced one. Jade in Taoism is the stone of immortality. Their way of saying this is someone who conquered death. The Trinity they mapped to the 3 bodies of Buddha. These monks weren't confused about their faith. They just understood their audience. They named it Jing Jiao, the luminous religion, and it spread all 10 provinces of the Tang dynasty, over 100 cities, and under 10 consecutive emperors. And here's how you know this wasn't fringe. In 781 AD, 150 years after Alepen arrived, someone commissioned a stone monument in Chang'an to document the entire history of Christianity in China. It's called the Nestorian Stele. Nearly 3 meters tall, 2,000 Chinese characters carved into black limestone, recording everything: Alepen's arrival, the imperial decree, the spread of the faith, and the names of the monks. And at the very top, carved in stone, a cross emerging from a lotus flower. Christianity and Buddhism literally fused into a single single image. The stele was buried when the persecution started, rediscovered in 1625, and it still exists today. You can go see it in the Forest of Stone Steles Museum in Xi'an. China's Christian history is carved in stone, and it's still there. But what happened next is why most people have never heard of it. 845 AD, Emperor Wuzong came to power, a devout Taoist with zero tolerance for what he called foreign religions contaminating China. He didn't just go after Christianity, he went after everything at once. 4,600 Buddhist temples destroyed in a single year, 260,500 monks forced back into civilian life, Zoroastrians, Manichaeans, Christians, all banned, every non-Chinese faith gone. The crazy part is, the religion that had so completely absorbed Taoist language was destroyed by a Taoist emperor who said it was too foreign. In just one generation, Christianity had completely disappeared from China, the community scattered, and the churches came down. The monks who were left took their most important texts and sealed them underground. There's a place in Gansu province, Western China, the Mogao Caves near Dunhuang. For centuries, Buddhist monks had carved hundreds of temples and libraries into the cliffs along the Silk Road. When the persecution hit, communities across China started hiding their most important documents inside them. Around 1005 AD, someone sealed Cave 17, plastered the door over. Whether they meant to come back, nobody knows. For 900 years, nothing moved. Then June 1900, a Taoist monk named Wang Yuanlu, the self-appointed caretaker of the Mogao Caves, was cleaning sand from a corridor when the wall cracked. Behind it was a room.
I probably just need to pause for copyright reasons or whatever, but I'm loving this so far. And it's easy to think that, you know, that missionaries probably already, have been attempted at many times and just got erased and then started over again and then erased. And you can just see how this cycle just keeps going over and over and over again. But nevertheless, as the gates of Hades will never prevail, there's always a remnant that's left. There's always some a form that remains on, and as long as that stays alive, which it will, you can always have a root grow out of the stump of Jesse, if you know what I mean.
Floor to ceiling, packed with manuscripts, over 40,000 documents, scrolls, paper, silk, 1,000 years of Chinese text completely intact. Buried somewhere in that room, 8 manuscripts, the Jesus Sutras. Word reached Europe immediately. A British archaeologist named Aurel Stein showed up in 1907. He spent weeks gaining Wang's trust, then walked out with 29 crates of manuscripts, some of the most significant documents in Chinese history. Those are in the British Library in London now. Then a French scholar named Paul Pelliot arrived. He was actually fluent in Chinese. He could read exactly what he was holding. He hand-selected roughly 10,000 of the most important documents in the collection. And here's the number I told you about. He paid the equivalent of £90. £90 for 10,000 manuscripts, including texts sealed underground for 900 years, including China's own ancient Christian scriptures. Those are sitting in Paris now. Today, the Jesus Sutras are split between London, Paris, and a private collection in Japan. Not one is in China. Here's what the Jesus Sutras actually tell us. Christianity arrived in China way back in 635. It looked at the culture around it and built a bridge. Jesus spoke in the language of the Tao. God moved in yin and yang. The Holy Spirit was the cool wind. The cross was a doorway out of samsara. It worked for 200 years across the most powerful empire in the world. It wasn't rejected by the people. It was destroyed by one emperor, forgotten in just one generation, sealed underground for 900 years, and then sold to...
I am so looking up the Jesus Sutras, and I'm definitely doing that next.
Foreign scholars for £90. A version of Jesus built entirely from Chinese thought, written in Chinese by Chinese people, is sitting in a museum in London. That's the chapter of Christian history nobody has ever taught you. China had its own Jesus and it was buried. If you didn't know about this, make sure you like and subscribe because there's a lot more of this coming.
Yeah, make sure you go follow his page. I will. And man, that was awesome. I think he has a couple more videos, so I'm gonna check this out. So, but I'll end this one here. So that was great though. Make sure you go follow his page, Jaffet.